start. It's my 5th year in the 4-H project and the Dakota Sharpshooters 4-H Club. And I've been enrolled for the dairy cattle project for those 5 years, so I live on a dairy farm. Today I'm going to teach you how to judge a dairy cow. One of the things I'm going to be talking about is the Dairy Unified Scorecard. It's pretty much a point system on how to judge a dairy cow. The criteria for judging a dairy animal are 40% or 40 points go to the udder. The main reason for that number being so high is because the main reason you have a cow is for it to produce milk. 25% go to the dairy strength or the dairy character, again so the cow can also produce milk and live longer. 20% go to the rear feet and legs, also to preserve the udder. 15% go to the frame to preserve the animal's longevity and its udder. We are going to be talking about the udder first. We're going to talk about the rear udder. On your left, you're going to see a good udder with a good rear udder attachment with it's high and wide with the udder cleft, which is the udder cleft is the line dividing the rear 2 quarters of the udder, and you want that line to be clearly defined, and you want the line to go almost all the way up the rear udder. As you can see on your right, the poor rear udder attachment, it's high but it's not as wide as this one over here. We also have some examples of the narrow rear udder attachment going up to the wide rear udder attachment. And here you can see the good rear udder with the good rear udder attachment. It's high and wide, and the udder cleft goes up a little bit higher, goes up almost halfway up the udder. Here you can see it's still high, but it's not as wide, and it doesn't go up as much. It doesn't go up as high as the good rear udder attachment. Moving on to the foreudder, you can see that with the foreudder attachment, you can see where the udder blends into the wall. It blends in smoothly, and over here you can see where the udder ends and the rest of the cow begins. Just like this picture over here, you don't want to clearly see where the udder ends and the rest of the animal begins. You want it to be blending smoothly into the body. I also want to point out, you can see all the milk veins, the veining on the udder, which is, you want to see that so you know that the cow is getting milk to its udder. Moving on to dairy strength, you can see with this, you can kind of see with this animal, the ribs are flat and wide, and it's properly spaced apart with it slanting slightly towards the rear. You can also see the cleanness through the throat, neck, and chest of the cleanness of the dewlap. You can also, and here you want them to have a good chest width. You don't want them to be too narrow. You want them to be wide because then you know that they have good, strong, vital organs. Moving on to the rear feet and legs, you don't want their hocks to be too close together, because then when they walk, they'll rub up against their udder, and it'll start to wear the udder down faster than normal. You want them like this so they don't wear their udder out as much. And here you want a proper set or angle to the hocks, again to preserve the udder. You don't want it to be too straight, but you don't want it to be too angled. You want just a little bit of angle to the front of the hock. Moving on to the frame. You want the hooks or the hips to be slightly higher than the pin bones. You don't want the pins to be higher than the hips, but you don't want too much of a slope. And you want the pin, if you have too much of a slope, then the calf or cow might have birth problems, reproduction problems. Over here, you want the pin bones to be wide apart, so you don't want them to be like this, because if they have that, then they might have reproductive problems as well. And down here, you want their front feet to be squarely placed under them, so they're not leaning anywhere, as they're to preserve the udder again. I have just told you about the 4 main points of the Dairy Unified Scorecard. We covered some of them today, but there are a lot more. Are there any questions?
Do you judge dairy
Yes,
as
I
well
do.
in 4-H? Well, one of the questions that I had was about dairy character, because I've listened to numerous sets of reasons, and I appreciated how you answered my question throughout your presentation, so thank you.
Any other questions? Matt? Thank you for listening.